nature is number one and you think long term, it puts a whole different cast on anything that we do. That's what we're after. Several years ago, we cooked up something called Principles of Compression Thinking. We think they hold together logically pretty well into something that could be a future system of living and working. However, people don't grab onto these quickly or readily for many reasons, so the psychology of them is sort of interesting. And let's review that, beginning with principle that the world's finite. It's limited. You can't use everything in it. You can't use up all the space to throw things away in it. And so we've got to start thinking and working and living differently. Maybe very differently. We think that just making a little change and then doing what we always did will get it, and it doesn't look like it's going to. Now, part of that one is a second principle, quality of life, maybe all life, because we depend on all life. Quality of all life before quantity of output. That relates to cutting our consumption. Think about the quality of life in nature, of you, your friends, your associate, and maybe people in far off places. What is the effect of what we do? How does it affect them? Live better using much less. And so you get to a third one, that's learning. If you grew up on an old farm, you knew you were way out someplace and something went wrong, you probably had to do an awful lot to fix it yourself. You had to solve a lot of your own problem. That was learning. It was sort of irritating at times, but you were forced to learn. When things change and you got to react and solve your own problems, you got to learn. And so we're looking for companies that do vigorous learning, active learning, whatever name you want to call it, and organized to do that. Companies that are too big have difficulty doing that. They get so big that their bureaucracy won't let them even communicate effectively with each other. That's not learning. And so organize to learn. A next one. Measure the performance of a total system as best you can. Like in a community, if you're trying to cut back on water use, if total water use in the community or in a watershed, best you can measure it, is not decreasing, you're not accomplishing the end goal, no matter what little incremental benefit somebody may be getting. And so that requires everybody to work together. And incidentally, a lot of independent financial measurement on how we're getting along, like profitability in independent companies, does not encourage us to think that way. And so total system measurement supersedes performance as individuals or as little companies or as agencies or something else. Another principle is science as a system. A few people may be against scientific thinking and just whatever comes out of their head must be the truth. And real scientific thinking is we need some kind of evidence to support what we propose or what we're thinking, or particularly what we plan to do. Go with some evidence. But look for all the evidence, not just a little part of it. Another principle, maybe the last one, is systemic thinking. Think about things as a whole, a big whole. A lot of us say we're systemic thinkers, but we don't think about very big systems. We think about one company as a system, maybe only inside of it. Well, what about all the environment, everything around you as a system? Learn to think in depth, look for detail, learn to think broadly. What's the wide scope of what we might see, do, or affect, and far into the future? A good question is, if I do this, what's it going to look like in 100 years? Not very many people seriously ask that question. Going back to the beginning of this, the world being a finite place and going through all the rest of them, they all fit together. You need to have each one of these to have a complete system of thought. It might be summarized simply as nature comes first before all your other considerations. And people have had that kind of a philosophy or guidance in mind in the past. It can be done. But in the modern world, it's very difficult to replicate that pattern of thought. You can do it. We can do it. We'd like you to help us figure out, in a modern context, in the muddle we're in, how do we think very differently to work our way out of this? We invite you to participate with us in teleconferences, in any other activity we can, or just give me a call.